This is News 12 Law Call.
Good Sunday. Hi there, I'm Neil Gordon, and welcome to Law Call. Tonight, the answers to your legal questions. Here's what's on the docket this evening. Tonight, we'll take your questions about disputes over insurance claims. If you're tired of fighting the insurance company, or if you have an issue going on, we'd love to hear from you at 844-706-1212. Details matter, especially if an insurance adjuster is disputing your version of what caused your injury. We'll explain the importance of taking notes after an accident later in the program. First, we welcome back into the program Vic Hawk, just back from a lawyers conference.
That's right.
Lucky you. You know, they could have had the conference in Peoria, Illinois, or somewhere. You know, it's nothing against folks in Peoria, but you were in a good spot.
Well, we get tired of going to Atlanta.
Okay.
And you know, if you die in Georgia, you got to go to Atlanta to get to heaven.
Okay.
And so they scheduled these seminars at locations where we like to travel to. So we were at Amelia Island this weekend. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of great speakers, learned a lot, and enjoyed the beach.
I don't
Probably
blame
too
you.
much. And if you're on our Facebook, you'll see we
Some
gave
pictures?
we did
Good for you.
Boomerang.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. You learn something new all the time.
I do.
It's always
I do.
changing too.
Yeah.
Well, Calvin's got an email question for you, Vic. Interesting situation. He's thinking about letting a contractor do some roofing work, but the company is kind of new, and so some preventative medicine here. He wants to know if he falls off of his house and gets hurt, meaning the roofer, or his partner gets hurt, will Calvin be responsible for anything legally going forward?
Calvin, the answer is no in almost all circumstances. The only conceivable circumstance that I could think of would be a situation where you know that there's some type of hazard to the roof. In other words, the roof is already caving in at a certain location. You fail to tell the contractor about it or give the contractor an opportunity to fully inspect the roof. You might be held liable under those circumstances. I'll tell you where I've seen the most litigation arrive from a circumstance like yours, and that is where the roofer doesn't have any workers' comp insurance and the employee falls off the roof. So I would make him show you the workers' compensation insurance contract, the declarations page, so that, number one, the workers that are on your roof are protected, the contractor's protected, and then you won't have to deal with any potential claim against yourself.
Well, that's our theme tonight, insurance and how you deal with those situations. But if you have a question off topic, maybe about DUI or Social Security, if you will, you want to go to hawklawgroup.com. There'll be a live chat going on with one of the attorneys from the Hawk Law Group, where you can go to lawcall.com/Augusta and shoot off an email, or the Facebook page. Yeah. Well, we've been doing the program for 6 years.
That's right.
And you always like to break in new attorneys.
That's right.
To help us.
And we got a good one for you tonight. You know, one of the things that I've tried to expose the community to is that we're just a big community sitting on a river where common interests left and right, and there's some great young lawyers in Barnwell, South Carolina. The court system is fantastic. The judges there are fantastic, and I brought one. This is a young one. This is Wil Alexander. He's from Barnwell, South Carolina. Went to the University of Georgia and is doing personal injury work. And he does a lot of social media too, so he should be easy to find.
Posted a video right before we got here.
That's right, that's right. So, Wil, can you tell our viewers, after a wreck, why it may not be good to immediately talk with your insurance company before you talk to a lawyer?
Sure, and I'd love to get that. But first, I would be remiss if I didn't say hello to everybody in Barnwell that's watching. Thank you guys for all the support, and you know, really appreciate you guys letting me be here.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Really, you don't want to talk to the insurance company at all after you get in an accident, and that goes kind of twofold to your question, Vic. One is, I think most people understand that the at-fault insurance company, if you are the victim in a car wreck, you understand that they may not have your best interest in mind, but that could also be your insurance company that may not have your best interest at mind. If you have an underinsured motorist coverage, or there's other coverages that may be available that maybe your insurance company wouldn't want to cover you.
Yeah, and Will, in that circumstance, we talked a little bit about your insurance company being the adversary. As a general rule with personal injury lawyers, is there a cost for just calling and asking for advice about what they should tell the insurance company and when?
No, not at all. There's no cost. Almost all personal injury lawyers have free consultations, and the fee is a contingency fee. So that means that no personal injury lawyer gets a fee unless they win for you. So I would highly recommend you always going and talking to a personal injury lawyer, getting that free consultation, and getting a lay of the land.
Yeah, and it's not unusual that we do this over the phone initially. A lot of people don't know what to do after a wreck. A simple phone call to the lawyer that really is available, rather than advertising that they're available, but really is available, and getting good advice. The reason that you should do that, especially with your own insurance company, is that you may have to file under the uninsured motorist coverage like Will just suggested, and you should know what to tell your insurance company and how to tell them about the wreck in a way that makes your position much stronger than if you just answer a bunch of questions with an adjuster who may be on the opposite side of you on an uninsured motorist claim.
Well, if you're dealing with maybe a car accident claim or a slip and fall and an insurance company has to get involved, you may just have a couple of questions. Free legal advice tonight. If you call us at 844-706-1212, we'll be right back with your questions.
Welcome back to News 12 Law Call with award-winning broadcaster Neil Gordon. And from the Hawk Law Group, attorney Vic Hawk, with more than 30 years experience and millions of dollars awarded to his clients. Personal injury attorney Melissa Detchmindy, raised in Augusta and proudly working to make our community better. Attorney Reed Sanders, born and raised in Thompson and known for his strong courtroom skills. With criminal law, former police officer, now lawyer Sean Merzlach, and with South Carolina injury law, trial attorney Chase Hawk. Plus guest attorneys from across the CSRA. Your rights, your calls, live. News 12 Law Call.
Welcome back. If you've been involved in an accident, excuse me, specific details could be critical when it comes time to file your claim, and an accident diary can be of some benefit. Personal injury attorney Chase Hawk explains in our legal brief.
After a wreck, there are a lot of images and emotions running through your head. You think you'll never forget exactly what happened, but you probably will. Since details will be critical when it comes to filing your insurance claim, start an accident diary as soon as possible. Write down everything you can remember about the accident, what happened before, during, and after, who was present at the accident, and what kind of conversation did you have about it. Keep a log of your injuries, even those that seem minor. A headache today or a sore neck could become more serious later on. Keep a list of your expenses and not just your medical bills. Did you have to rent a car? Did you miss days from work? And here's one thing I always tell my clients. Write on the cover, "For my attorney." This will give us a chance at keeping your private thoughts private. Georgia and South Carolina have strong protections for attorney-client privilege. That is your legal brief for tonight. I'm personal injury attorney Chase Hawk. Back to you.
Thank you, Chase, and we're rejoined by Vic Hawk from the Hawk Law Group and Wil Alexander from Barnwell, South Carolina. And Chase brings up an interesting point with the accident diary, and we were talking about social media.
Sure.
And our, we've all got our iPhones and stuff and such. How important is that? Either video or pictures? Can that make a difference?
Will?
Sure, I think your cell phone can be a huge help after you've been involved in an accident, like the accident handbook, getting pictures of your vehicle if you're able, and the at-fault vehicle or the scene of video. But I would also say with the social media, your cell phone can also maybe cause a lot of harm down the road. You don't want to go making any comments about any of your health, any of your injuries, until you go get that treatment and you go to a doctor.
All right, thank you, Will. We want to hop on the phone right now. We've got Orlando from the state of Georgia with a question. Hi, Orlando. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Super. How are you?
Good.
Great. What can we help you with?
I had a question.
Go right ahead.
Turn your TV down, Orlando.
Yes.
Orlando, go right ahead with the question and turn your television down.
Okay. Well, last year I got hit by a car. The car ran over my leg,
Yes, ma'am.
and I couldn't get the tag number because it was a hit and run.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my question.
Okay. Well, Orlando, that's a very good question, and it's something that we've talked about many times here on Law Call over the years. People don't realize if they're a pedestrian and they're hit by a car and someone leaves the scene, you're entitled to coverage under your own uninsured motorist coverage. The same would be true if you were in a car and got hit. The mere fact that you were a pedestrian, you don't really think about it to say, hey, I can file this under my car insurance, which you would be able to. And you can take it one step further in Georgia. You can, if some other relatives who live in the same house as you have automobile insurance, and more particularly uninsured motorist coverage, you'll be able to file under that coverage as well. So there's a lot that you can do. If you need help tomorrow, you can give us a call tomorrow, and we'll be glad to sort that out for you. And I'm sorry you got hit, I really am. Now, I'm going to let Will tell you the South Carolina rule, because I know it's a little bit different, I imagine, than the Georgia rule. Now, Will, can you tell our viewers in South Carolina, pedestrian gets hit by someone who runs off, can they use their automobile insurance coverage?
Yes, they're going to be able, if you have a vehicle, you should be able to use that uninsured motorist vehicle coverage in that scenario.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if you think about it, it's uninsured motorist vehicle. In other words, it's a car that's uninsured or underinsured and hits you and causes an injury, and that's exactly why you have the coverage. And it doesn't matter if you're a pedestrian walking on the side of the road. We actually have one in the office now where the lady was sitting in her own house when the car came crashing into her living room.
Yikes.
Yeah, you never know.
That's very true. Well, Vic mentioned uninsured and underinsured. For folks who don't know, what's the difference? What do you recommend?
As far as if you should, so in South Carolina, you have to have uninsured motorist coverage. So if you have car insurance in South Carolina, you have the minimum policy limits is what it's called. Underinsured, I would recommend, and what underinsured protects you is if you're in a very significant accident, you have significant injuries, let's say you have $100,000 in medical bills, and the individual that hit you, the at-fault person, has maybe minimum policy of $25,000, then you are out $75,000. So that underinsured motorist coverage could protect you and could help you get more coverage in that scenario.
Yeah, and that's a common occurrence, especially in a serious wreck. The whole problem with the system involving automobiles is that you can have a serious injury, but the minimum limits are really not there to address that. And so that's why it's so important that you have to have uninsured motorists in Georgia add-on, and in South Carolina, as Will just suggested, the underinsured motorist coverage as well. It doesn't cost that much, and it sure gives you a lot of protection.
Well, we still have a segment left. You can appear on the air or even just call in and share your question if you want to remain anonymous. Love to hear from you. The number 844-706-1212. You're watching News 12 Law Call. Well, thanks so much to Wil Alexander for appearing from Barnwell. You can reach him in the morning at 803-571-0039. Online, WHA for his initials there, lawoffice.com, WHA-lawoffice.com. The Hawk Law Group can be reached at 706-722-3500 and online at hawklawgroup.com. Our topic tonight, fighting the insurance company, the number 844-706-1212. Let's get back to the phones. We've got Pete on the telephone line. Hi, Pete.
How you doing?
Oh, just fine. Briefly, let us know when you were in an accident and have you settled?
Well, it's been about 4 years, but actually what happened was it was early in the morning. I dropped my wife off at work, and I was coming out 15th Street, and I was stopped at a light. There was a person stopped beside me at the light, and when I pulled out, I checked the rear view mirror and side view mirror, and I always have a habit of turning around and looking. And I had plenty of room. The person behind me was in the other lane, and I made a lane change, turned my right turn signal on, made the lane change, and got hit, and got knocked out. And when I woke up, I was handed a ticket by the officer. And I said, "Can I speak?" And he said, "If I want to hear from you, you stand over there, and if I want to hear from you, I'll talk to you." Well, I decided to take this thing to court, and the officer charged me with the accident. I took it to court, but I took pictures of my car, and I went down to where her car was towed, took pictures of her car, and I got an attorney and went to court. And at court, I called my insurance company and told them that we were going to court. Don't pay this until I gave them the name of my attorney. We went to court, and after I showed the judge the pictures I'd taken, it was decided that she was half at fault and I was half at fault. But my insurance company paid her claim before the trial was up, and they said, "Hey, we already paid it. It's the way it is." And then they raised my insurance. So. Yeah. The attorney didn't charge me.
Right.
He said you got ripped off.
Yeah. Pete, what you're talking about is a situation where you're contesting the responsibility for the wreck. And the police officer decided you were responsible for the wreck. Regardless, your insurance company has the right to settle with the other party with or without your consent. And because they made the poor decision to pay on it doesn't mean that you couldn't pursue your claim. Now, the question becomes whether you were equally at fault in the wreck. And you could pursue your claim against the other party, but you just had 2 years to do it, not yet. 4 years as statutes run 2 years ago. It'd be too late to file the claim now, but you could have still pursued your claim against the other party to make their insurance company pay. It's an unusual circumstance, but it does happen. Now, rules may be a little different in South Carolina, but Will's here to let us know what the South Carolina rule would be. Under that circumstance, Will, what do you think?
So under that circumstance, the first thing is the statute of limitations is different. So the time that you have to bring your claim in South Carolina, it's 3 years, so you get that extra year, but you'd still be a year behind there. In the same way, the last part of the answer by Vic, it would be similar. So in South Carolina, you could still try to bring your claim against the other insurance and try to prove that they were equally at fault or maybe a little bit more at fault than you were, but it is that 3 year would be the big difference in the Georgia and South Carolina.
Yeah. Many years ago, my brother did a case down there in Burke County, and the lady, or his man, was found to be at fault in the wreck. And my brother Jacques did a good job, went out and interviewed a bunch of witnesses and was able to show that the other party was actually at fault. And when the police were on the way down there, they were steady throwing beer cans out of their car. And so as a result, the jury punished the insurance company like they should have under the circumstances and fully compensated the man that was hurt, and he really wasn't at fault. So just because a police officer says that you're not at fault or you are at fault in the circumstance that we're addressing, that doesn't mean that that's the end of the case. And that's why you should get to a good personal injury attorney to give you good advice about it, whether you be in Georgia or South Carolina. Wil's available there for you in Barnwell to help in those kinds of circumstances. So Pete, we wish you had called us sooner.
Yeah, by 2 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. How much lowballing goes on with insurance companies and your clients in terms of trying to get a fair settlement?
I think it happens all the time. I think that it's one of the main reasons why I would recommend going and talking to a lawyer, because really in a lot of scenarios, the only way that you can combat or you can try to do better than that low ball offer is to file a lawsuit. So I think that happens a lot.
Yeah, and you know, in circumstances like that, where they're making lowball offers, the best thing you can do is to have a lawyer on your behalf and go ahead and file the claim. We do it all the time. It's even on the property damages. We try to file the lawsuit right away, because then it starts costing the insurance company money. They got to hire a lawyer to defend the case. Generally, what they try to do is settle for a multiple of 1 or 2 times the medical expenses, just to keep a simple scenario. 1 or 2 times the medical expenses, but once a lawyer's involved, it's not unusual to get 5 or 10 times the medical expenses on a common case. So when you're faced with a lowball offer, get a lawsuit filed right away, start costing them money, you go to the top of the interest list then.
Yeah, you're right about that. We've probably got about a minute to go in the program, but any other examples of maybe bad faith with an insurance company besides, say, lowballing that you can think of?
What do you have, Vic?
Yeah, I think that they do it a number of different ways, especially if your car's totaled. All right, if your car's worth $10,000, they'll offer you $7,000, and they know you need a car. They know you need a car bad.
Right.
And so we file suit. Will and I would both in magistrate court, cost them a bunch of money to defend it, and then all of a sudden they pay what they should.
Well, we'll have to leave it there, and I think he did great for the first time.
He did great. Yeah, we'll have him back. He's a good one.
And
Thank you, Will.
We'll get you a coffee cup as your pay. We appreciate it for the free advice.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for
We're
having
back next Sunday. Take care.
Thank y'all for calling.